right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Excited to show off this car behind me now. If you guys watched our last Charger video, you'll have seen a little teaser about the Eclipse. And, well, here you go. Let me tell you a little bit about this car. Our sister company called Just Donated, we contract with a number of different charities, and one in particular, they're a charity that does all sorts of wonderful things for our disabled vets. This was a car that was donated to that charity a couple weeks back. I was walking through the yard with James, and all of a sudden this thing was sitting there getting ready to have photos taken of it, and I thought, wait a minute, that is essentially the same car used in the first movie. So the little gears started turning. Guess what? So you guys probably know what's going to happen. Let me first introduce you to Robert Hess. Robert Hess is the director of Devon. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Daryl, it's good to be back.
Why don't we talk a little bit about your charity and kind of what Devon's all about?
So Devon is a charity that's focused on connecting disabled veterans with benefits from the VA and from other organizations. Starting last year, one of our key programs has been suicide prevention. That is raising money to provide veterans dealing with PTSD with service dogs. So a service dog is kind of expensive. They're about $40,000 to train. So through our love of motorsports and some of the stuff that you guys have done for us, we have started a national track cross series. We did the first one last year, October, at Summit Point Raceway. We're doing our second one this coming October again at Summit Point Raceway. 2023, we're going to have something out here in California. You guys can find out about our charity and what we do at devon.org, and you can find out about our track cross event over at rally4vets.com. I do want to give a quick shout out. Behind us is that donated GT40 that you guys built up, and I did finally get this thing out on the track last November at Thermal Raceway.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But I can tell you, based on that GT40, I am excited to see what you're going to do with this.
It's going to be a fun build. We've got some great assistants. As you guys know, Craig Liberman partnered with us on the Supra. And Craig, you're here. Come on over and talk to us a little bit about, I know.
You guys lied to me. There's no birthday party for me here.
There could be.
There could be. So the idea is to turn this into a replica of the movie car. We've started collecting parts for it. We don't know to what level we're going to go to on the Eclipse build. So this is going to be a giveaway car. All the proceeds are going to go to Devon, and we are going to have more information and details on how to enter to win in upcoming videos. Craig, what do you think?
You told me that you found a really nice Eclipse over there at the yard. I was like, oh God, please don't, please don't, please don't, please. But you did it. Here we are.
I mean, come on, what would you say?
This car is one of the most complex cars to build, not just because of the parts. I see James has already done a great job of getting some of these parts. A lot of these parts are discontinued, but you are not prepared for what comes next. The wheels that were made for this car was by a company called Axis, James Chen. They made exactly 500 sets, and I can tell you that all of them are spoken for. That's it. Their total run was 500 sets. So getting those wheels on the proper size and offset, that's going to be a challenge. The wheel gap on an Eclipse is astounding.
Is it?
It's massive. It's like the late 90s Maximas, the 832s. Massive.
Really?
Yes. And so it's hard to get good fitment on there.
Would it be 16s or 15s?
I think they're 16 stock for this.
And so the movie car had 18s, right?
Mm-hmm. And of course you get low profile tires.
I remember.
If you see the movie, you look at the stunt cars, they look like four-wheel drive cars because they're so far off the ground because you don't lower stunt cars.
Right.
They have to go up and down trailers and on driveways and all kinds of stuff. Getting the wheel fitment, it's going to have to be a compromise, and we have to remember that it's going to be given away to somebody in the raffle. Right. So they're going to want to drive it every day. Seats, the Sparco seats, long discontinued.
Yep.
You got a line on those?
Look behind you.
Walked right past it. All right, so make a liar out of me. You got the proper headlights, as you probably already surmised.
This bumper, it needs a lot of work.
When they say bolt-ons, they're lying. So.
Don't look at it too hard, guys, because it's all lopsided and crooked. There's just all sorts of wrong going on here.
So this is going to be a challenge. All the stuff that you have to put into this car, getting the right paint code, getting the right wheels.
Roof scoop looks all right.
Oh, God. Biggest mistake.
As you call a air brake.
It is an air brake.
Yeah.
The air comes in through the front. Of course, that's not finished, and it's not, the front hole needs to be cut out. But the air goes in there and has nowhere to come out. So what happens is it tries to lift itself off the car. And since that is plastic or whatever it is, It's got to be bondoed to the car, and people who know anything about
I've seen the lines.
It's very difficult to get that to blend into the car and stay adhered to the car when you're doing 80 miles an hour. So what most people do is they fill in the hole. The smart people anyway. So there's a lot of work to be done.
Or you just put a hole in the back of the car in the headliner and little exhaust vents go that way.
Or you could do that, sure, except when it rains.
Except when it rains.
How about a hole in the roof and use it for air conditioning?
Yeah, that's true too.
We were talking about that earlier, so there's a lot to be done. When we get to the back end of the car, this is where you're going to pull your hair out.
Could you imagine? Oh my God.
For a couple reasons. First off, the wing, no longer made. However, APR right now is doing, what is that program called? The Legacy program, or I forget what it's called. But basically, they're going to recreate these wings.
Really? When are they doing that?
They're doing it right now.
Oh, nice.
Those models are overseas right now getting made. So they used parts from a person who had that actual wing, and now they're taking that and reverse engineering their own product 20 years later.
Nice. This obviously comes off, and then the APR wing gets placed on the rear deck lid. This particular car needs some engine work. So in terms of drivetrain, what is this motor?
So on RS, it comes with the 420A. When you get into the GST, like the turbo version,
Yep.
you get the 4G63, which is a Mitsubishi motor, and it's turbocharged, and that's fun, or the GSX, which is all-wheel drive. The movie car actually had a 420A, was privately owned by a guy by the name of John Lapid, and he rented it to Universal. And so the stunt cars were pretty much the same thing. I think we had a total of 6. I have to look again, maybe 6 or 8, I forget. None of them were turbocharged, didn't have built motors or anything like that, so it was just mostly cosmetic stuff.
Got it. So I guess our plan is to rebuild this engine. It's got a manual 5-speed in it, and are we going to do anything outside of maybe some exhaust? What do you think?
It depends. I mean, if it's going to auction and this car's going to stay in the state of California, then it's going to have all the emissions stuff.
And that's just it. Our plan is to keep it legal for California, since it's titled and registered in California.
Okay.
Whoever ends up with it, we don't want them to run into challenges getting it to pass a smog test.
So it's going to definitely mirror the movie car because it won't be fast. But
yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Is that how it works? Okay.
Well, they weren't all that impressive, but they were fun little cars. You know, they were cool looking.
Yeah.
They were relatively affordable, and they weren't a Honda Civic, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it was very different. So it's a fun car. Somebody would be thrilled to own it.
Yep.
And to roll around in a Paul Walker Fast and Furious Eclipse replica would be a really fun thing to do.
Are you down for helping us on this build?
The Eclipse is not really my expertise or area of expertise, but I have a good friend, Kevin Peacock, who's been building one for the last 2.5 years. He's got it down pat. So
got it.
He can come in here and say, you need this, you need this, right down to the nuts and bolts.
This is going to be a fun build. We're excited about it because we have such a fast theme going on right now. You know, Craig, your help is going to be really priceless to us.
My only concern is that the person who wins it knows how to drive a manual transmission. I'm not joking.
Well, I hope they do.
I can tell you that the replicas that exist around the world, when people roll up on these cars, the green Eclipse, fans of all ages lose their mind. It's just one of those cars that's super iconic.
Yeah.
That's the first car he was in. That's when we're introduced to the character. He's in the green Eclipse.
Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you like what you've seen. Don't forget to check out Craig's channel on YouTube. And don't forget.
Yep, and you know, for you vets or people that want to support the veteran community, pop over and see us at deven.org, DVEN.org. And if you are a track rat or you've ever wanted to get your car in the track, go over to rallyforvets.com. We'll be a nationwide series of time trials supporting the veteran community. I'm in awe of what you guys are going to do with this car.
It's going to be fun, guys.
To support the veteran community. I can hardly wait.
Any comments, please hit us up. Give us some feedback. Love to hear it. Thanks for tuning in. Harry's shop.
My buddy Gabriel, I went to see him last month, December. Jesus, just February. Anyway, so he bought one of the two. These were promo trucks from Ford. This guy who had this truck was in Texas. He had no idea it was a movie truck. And they were about to take the engine out to put it in something else. He tracked it down through a private investigator for the last registration.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, and he sent his guy, I'll buy it. What do you want for it? And he sends his guy his trailer over there, his trailer and truck, picks it up and drives it all the way back to Florida. So now he has the only surviving one.
Amazing. Tracked
so
it down
cool.
with a private investigator.
PI, man.
That's pretty cool.
Wild, man.
Yeah,
That's how we found a lot of those movie cars. Private investigator.
Yeah.
His brother-in-law is a private investigator. Hey, man, I need you to track these cars down.
Where does it? It starts with the VIN. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Well, you know,
You look for all the registrations anywhere.
you could. There's a national system that you just run what's called a KSR, and I don't know
Oh,
what
I know
that
what
is.
KSR is.
Yeah, so you could track down pretty much any car,
Okay.
just off the VIN number.
Coming from a former cop, he knows all the tricks.
So
He wants to
there you
find somebody. He's going to find you.
I will find you. Lift every rock.
I do.